Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City Board of Directors meeting for February 7th, 2017. I'd like to thank all of you who are with us here in City Hall as we go about to do the city's business. Our first order of business is to see who's here. So, Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the roll.
Director Hendricks, Director Richardson, Director Peck, Director Hines, Director Wright, Director Wyrick, Director Campuris, Director Fortson, Director Adcock, Vice Mayor Webb, Mayor Stola.
Here. I'd like to call on City Director Gene Fortson for our invocation, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Would you join me in prayer? Our God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the opportunity to live in a free country and together to take care of the people's business in an open forum. Guide this group tonight as we make decisions which affect the future of our city. Watch over our first responders, our police and fire and ambulance drivers, and help us make wise decisions. These things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. If you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get into the agenda items that we have tonight, I want to call out a special recognition to some friends that we have here from South Korea. I'm very happy on behalf of the city and our City Board of Directors to welcome the representatives of our longest-standing sister city, Hanam, South Korea. We have with us today the acting mayor, Lee Jong-soo. Lee? And we have an entire delegation all the way from Hanam who are with us for the next few days. Next month will mark the 25th year of this very important relationship. And I know that many of our citizens have been to MacArthur Park and they have witnessed the Korean War memorial that we have there that recognizes the American sacrifice in Korea. And I want you to know that the citizens of Hanam made that possible for us to be able to have that Korean monument here in our city. Last year, we have had some active exchanges of our young students, the Mayor's Youth Council, along with the Youth Council of the city of Hanam. We had 10 students from Hanam who were with us for 5 days with host families, and we had 15 of our own students from Little Rock that we sent over to Hanam as part of the Youth Leadership Program. Which really is a great opportunity to take our young people and expose them not only to another culture and to experience how small this world really is, but also they spend a semester getting ready for the trip by being part of our youth leadership program through the Mayor's Youth Council. So I want to welcome also the members of the our own Sister Cities Commission that we have here with us today. We have Chairman Ashwin Vibacher. Ashwin, if you'd stand, please. Former Chairman Robert Kuhn, Melanie Berman, and Chris Morgan. I don't know if you want to translate all that now or not. Okay, so if that's the case, then I do have a presentation to make. And let me turn this over to my Vice Mayor for a moment.
Yeah, move to the big chair. Run the board. If somebody wants to talk, you gotta run the board.
Vice Mayor Lee, if you'd come forward, please. On behalf of the citizens of Little Rock and the Little Rock Board of Directors and myself, I want to ask you to please accept a key to the city as a formal welcome from the citizens of Little Rock. It symbolizes the idea that the doors of our city are open to all, of all nations and all continents and all countries. And we're so happy to have had this long-standing relationship with Hanam and look forward to the next many, many years of our friendship. We've had an opportunity to not only share culture, but also to deal with economic development activities between our two cities. And we're very thankful for that as well.
부시장님, 우리 시 리틀락시 시민과 여기 오신 이사회를 대표해서 제가 지금
the opportunity to give you the key to the city and to have our young people be able to share one another in terms of understanding, I know is going to continue to lead to peace in our world. Thank you very much for being with us. They're going to be taken out to a nice dinner right now, so enjoy some of the fine culinary treats of our city. Okay, we can now move on to the consent agenda that we have. We have items 1 through 10 that we've reviewed at our agenda meeting last week. And Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the consent agenda.
The consent agenda consists of a motion to approve the minutes of the November 7th, 2016 Little Rock City Board of Directors reconvened meeting, and for other purposes, a resolution authorizes the city manager to award a contract to Burkhalter Technologies Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $1,167,125.28 for the Chico Mableville Pike roadway improvements and for the purposes funding from the 2012 3/8-cent capital improvement sales tax and the 2013 limited tax journal obligation limited tax general obligation capital improvement bonds. A resolution to approve the city manager and city attorney to use eminent domain to complete acquisition of the right-of-way and temporary permanent construction easements necessary for the construction of the Canis Road Improvement Project and for other purposes, funding for the 2012 3/8-cent capital improvement sales tax and the 2013 limited tax general obligation capital improvement bonds. A resolution to authorize the offering of capital improvement bonds to refund the city's outstanding capital improvement construction revenue bonds, the Little Rock Zoo, Park and Recreation Projects, Series 2009A, capital improvement refunding revenue bonds from the Little Rock Zoo and Parks and Recreation Projects, Series 2009B, and the capital improvement junior lien revenue bonds, Series 2002, prescribing other matters relating to thereto and for the purposes. A resolution to amend Section 1 of Little Rock, Arkansas Resolution Number 14,498 of January the 17th, 2017, to add Bridge to Success as a citywide 2017 positive prevention program and for the purposes. A resolution to transfer title to the University District Development Corporation in Affordable Housing Incorporation and Better Community Development Incorporation by warranty deed for property donated by the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, to be used for neighborhood revitalization programs and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Rhythm Engineering LLC, an amount not to exceed $93,805 to provide technical consulting services for the University Avenue Traffic Signal Adaptive Control System and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into agreement with Vermeer Mid-South in an amount not to exceed $95,000 for Vermeer equipment parts for the Fleet Services Department and for the purposes. A resolution to set February 21st, 2017 as the date of hearing to hear the petition to form Little Rock Municipal Property Owners Multi-Purpose Improvement District number 2017-324 Canis Ridge Estates Project and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the city to enter into a subaward with the Little Rock School District to make certain repairs to Little Rock Central High School pursuant to the African American Civil Rights Grant and for the purposes. That concludes the consent agenda.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Director Hines, you have your light on, please?
Yes, Bruce, on Resolution 3, I had a meeting with the owners of Creekwood Plaza last week, and they are, I think, in negotiations right now. They are having, and maybe you can address this with Public Works, but they are taking, they've already done all their House Street improvements per the master street plan, but we are taking more right away from them that is potentially going to cause an issue with their driveway and some stacking that they need addressed. And I just want to make sure that I've got your word and Public Works word that the eminent domain will not be used as a heavy-handed tactic to do this until that's met.
Director Hines, that's correct. As was said last week, this is One, sometimes we've got to clear up title and so forth. And eminent domain is very seldom used on these type of construction projects. So we're very sensitive to that.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Director Wright, you're recognized, please.
On this resolution number 3, I do believe that it's, part of that is in Ward 6. It's not. I'm looking at the screen, if I'm looking correctly.
You're correct, that it's 5 and 6. That's my fault to not add that.
Can that be amended? And since this is official record?
Sure, I'm not sure on the resolution it has the, yeah, we don't list, we just did that a few years ago for the boards. But we'll add in the official document Ward 5 and 6.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've had all the questions asked and answered. All in favor of the passage of the consent agenda indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. The consent agenda is passed. At this time, we move into a portion on our agenda called citizen communication. And this is an opportunity to allow a specific item that is not already on our agenda to be expressed to the board in a written or oral viewpoint. We have several cards today. We allow a maximum of 30 minutes for citizen communications. I've got several cards here on 4 different items. So I've done a quick little review of what that means, and that means that we can allow the individuals to speak for about a minute and a half, 90 seconds each, to keep within the 30 minutes that we allot for this. Many of these cards are probably duplicative of what the issue is. I know there's several people here on the homeless issue. There's some people here on the issue of school closures. I now have another card. I guess that that was actually 94 seconds, so that'll take care of the rest of that. I would like to ask people to be very respectful of the time constraint, number one. Number two is try not to repeat the things that have already been said as it relates to the issues that we're going to be addressing. I think the board is very receptive and sensitive to citizen communication and hearing what our citizens have to say about the variety of issues that are going to come before us. If we do that, I think we can move through it in a very orderly manner. Director Hendricks, you have a question first?
My question is to Attorney Tom Carpenter.
All right, go ahead, please.
Tom, what the mayor has just said, are we safe in what he's doing? Cutting their time back even though it's 3 minutes? It's nothing in the ordinance that said,
I'm sorry,
according to the crowd.
Director Hendricks, y'all's policy says that it's 30 minutes for citizen communication. And the mayor, as the chair, is going by that. In order to allow as many to speak, he's cutting the time to essentially a minute and a half per person. That's the ruling of the chair. You can challenge it, but he has the authority to make that ruling.
I almost feel like challenging it.
Well, actually, the rule says 3 minutes for a specific item. If I did that, the 12 or 13 cards I have on the homeless issue would only get 3 minutes, and I'm trying to be very fair to everyone, so.
If they think, do they think it's fair? I think that they deserve their 3 minutes. And as you said, as long as they don't be redundant in what they say.
Well, go ahead. If you have a motion to make, then make the motion, and we'll see where we go. Otherwise, we're going to proceed with the way that I suggested.
Okay, go ahead, do your thing, let them complain.
Well, hopefully we can make sure that all the comments are addressed in an appropriate way. We're going to meet, first of all, with Ross Piazza, who wants to talk about speed bumps. And Scott, if you would, please watch this 90 seconds, as you will, please. Yeah, good. 90.
I have a few copies of the petition that we created and a 14-page comment section that people signed. Mayor Stodola, directors and staff, good
I'm not
evening.
gonna read it.
My name is Ross Piazza. I represent a group in Leawood who very much wants speed bumps in place for the safety of our residents, but who wants these speed bumps installed at a reasonable height. 20-plus years ago, Director Adcock helped my family get a speed bump in front of our house on Berkshire in Point of Woods. Now, as a Leawood homeowner for 14 and a half years, my family and I want the same degree of speed control for Leawood. However, when the repaving effort began on Biscayne, I called the traffic engineering office and was told the existing gentle speed humps would be replaced with the higher design per the adopted ITE standards. Leawood Boulevard has one like that, which has been upsetting many residents. Director Peck was very accessible when I approached her with our concern. She let me know people on both sides of the issue had contacted her. She conveyed our complaint to the staff and kept us all informed. She and Director Adcock arranged for a slight delay in the speed bump installation until we could present our side of the argument. Going fast here. One of our neighbors started an online petition for reasonable speed bump heights. In the first 4 days, over 160 people signed it. It now has 180 signatures and scores of comments from people who are concerned about damage to their vehicles. Others mention the slower response times for ambulances, fire trucks, and police. 2 sentences. Many residents believe it is unreasonable to force neighborhood traffic to come to a near stop several times when trying to get to work, getting children to school, or getting to the grocery store. We feel that gentler bumps would be a compromise that still slows vehicles to 20 miles per hour. Again, we are definitely in favor of speed bumps, just the
Piazza,
higher,
please,
just not the
respect
higher
our time.
version. Thank you.
And we have this issue come up many times, and if you'll work with the staff on the issue of the height of those speed bumps, this is a common refrain that we hear.
Well, thank you for your
You bet.
consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Piazza. Let me call on Jim Nichols with ASME. Mr. Nichols?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Board members, I just want to report that the city manager and the ASME Local 994 have reached an agreement. And it's historic in a sense in that the non-uniformed employees that ASME represents will have a step and grade system, a little bit more security, what they can look forward to in the future, and where they can see where they can eventually reach the maximum salary for their job position. And that's was an important goal. The city has come up with a mechanism to where those people were stuck in lower part of the pay grades based on their seniority, basically, or number of years with the city. They will get a bump on a step and grade. Like if they've been here for 15 years, then that would allow them, I think, to get 3 or 4 steps just based on that. So that's going to spread them out, and they will be making more than the employees who have only been here for 2 or 3 years. And that was a problem that we were having. So I'd just like to thank the city manager. I don't know if he has anything to add, but it was tough negotiations. It was one point I didn't think we would make it, but we did. And the non-uniform city employees thanked the city manager, and we thanked the board.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. I think we also have Angelo. Is it? Angelo Bender. Yes, please, Angelo, if you come up, please, the president of Local 994.
Yeah, we got some guys out here, and we do want to thank you, Bruce. I mean, and your staff for making that happen for us. And there was others here, they were all here to thank you themselves, because it has been a long time, and we appreciate everything you and your staff done for us.
Well, thank you,
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and
Angelo,
board.
thank you very much for all the work you do for the city. We really appreciate it, too.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce.
Director Hendricks may have a comment. Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
I just want to thank Mr. Moore for keeping his word. And he was right on time, and I think that the employees will be satisfied. But I thought it was terrible that as board members, we sit here and not say a mumbling word, and it's because most of those workers are minorities. And I am a sticker for minorities, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Thank you, Bruce.
All right, we can move on to the next topic, which is school closures. Meredith Marvin. Meredith? Can't quite read your,
Meredith Martin Moats.
okay, very good. Go ahead. Go ahead, Meredith.
Thank you all for having me. Yes, I want to speak on the proposed impact study. I live in Stiff Station near Woodruff School, which is going to close. I've lived in the neighborhood for about 6 years. My sons went to Woodruff Pre-K. I was the secretary of the PTA when they were at school there. I walked with my children to school every day, which was sort of like a dream come true, something that I didn't really think got to happen much anymore, but we did walk to and from school every day. And I'm telling you all this because I think it's a personal story of how much a school is an anchor institution for a neighborhood, and the closure of this school is going to have repercussions that are just going to be huge throughout the community. Not just for the kids who go to school there, but the people who live there. We use the playground for play dates. We hang out there as families. It's just a place where we gather. And I also want to say something about the staff there. Their principal there was amazing, is amazing. She's still there. And I would often come in and she would be holding students on her lap. These are like pre-K kids who studies show need that nurturing environment. And it was a small school and it was nurturing. I know it's an old building, but it's also a very loving place. And that's what matters more than anything, especially to kids this age. And I hope to send my daughter there. She'll be 3 few months. Won't be able to do that. She'll probably go to MLK, which is where my sons go now. I love MLK, but it's big. It's not a place for a 4-year-old. This was a small pre-K. And so I think that neighborhood schools build neighborhoods, and I think the neighborhood schools that are closing are in low-income and predominantly Black communities, and I'd like to see an impact study.
Thank you, Meredith. All right, let's try not to. I know when we're here and we're all supporting certain people speaking, it's tempting to applaud or to boo. We don't want any of that happening tonight. So if you'll be very respectful about that, we certainly take the sincerity of the comments made by the speakers into consideration as it relates to what our roles and responsibilities are. The next person that I have is Vicki Hattler. Vicki Hatter? Hattler, I think it is.
Hello, I'm Vicki Hatter, and I'm here to speak about our school closures and the impact that it will have on our communities. I live in Zone 6, so Director Wright is my director, and the school that is facing school closure and it is Wilson. And so I want to appeal to you all to seriously take a look at the closure of the school and the impact it will have, because we know when schools close, vacant buildings sit, and then that becomes a potential breeding ground for other things to happen. The other thing I wanted to bring up as far as the impact study, we also need to look at the folks in our city that are homeless, not only adults but children that also go to public schools, because that have a direct impact as well. And so I just want you guys to seriously take a look at what will this do to our neighborhoods. And I've lived in several different states, and I just think that it's kind of odd to me on how in most cities, the city and the public school district, they have a pretty close relationship. And since I've been in Little Rock, it seems like it's distant. So if you guys could seriously take our considerations and thoughts into consideration, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. The next card I have is from Gwen Porter Cole.
Good evening. Going to be very brief. I'm just a part of the two ladies' testimonies that just left, but my situation is a little bit different. I've worked for the district over 30 years now. I have 4 adults, children that, well, not children, they're grown now, that have, are products of the Little Rock School District. I guess for the 30 years I've worked for the district, I've seen them come in and tear things apart, break things that aren't, fix things that aren't broken, and vice versa. And so I'm just asking that a higher, so to speak, a higher power would work with us and come in and look at this city as a family. We have the two main people that are making the decisions now are really outsiders. They don't have a clue of what goes on in Little Rock, but that's not the story. So I'm just asking that you guys would closely look at what's going on. We're talking about, at first it was 5 schools, and now it's 3. But the 3 schools are very important. Matter of fact, Franklin Elementary is the school that my children attended. They were one of the first schools to have the Head Start, the 4-year-old, and all of the base programs that are now being, I guess, grandfathered or in other areas, you know, West Little Rock, so forth. And again, we know that crime is up, and schools, churches, all of those things matter in our communities. And so I'm just asking you guys to truly step in and help make some decisions, life-determining decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. The next card I have is from Anika Whitfield.
To the Board of Directors and City Manager, I just want to say that it is so very important that the City of Little Rock take a stance on the Little Rock School District. I know that there are a lot of people that sit here that say that the state took over the city, or the Little Rock School District, but it's in the City of Little Rock. And so whatever the state takes over in our city, I believe that the City of Little Rock should be very concerned about. Director Adcock, I want you to know that your daughter was at Franklin Elementary School supporting an impact study. She publicly said that she thought it would be very important for us to have an impact study that surrounds the schools in the Little Rock School District, and particularly those that would be closed and why they would be closed, because we couldn't get answers for that. I also want to say that I believe that an impact study will help, because in my neighborhood, I live in the Franklin neighborhood, walk to Franklin School for the 4th and 5th grade, and we have children's library that you all are very familiar with that was placed there. We have now bikeways in the neighborhood, and we also have the substation in our neighborhood. And all of that was done by impact studies. You all cared enough about our neighborhood to ask questions. Now, I happen to not be one of those people that got any questions asked, but supposedly there were impact studies done in order to bring those things there. And one of the purposes of bringing all of those things to our neighborhood and community was because we had an excellent public school there, Franklin Elementary School. And so I'm asking you, appealing to you to please consider an impact study, and to ask the Little Rock School District, if they're not willing to do it, that you would stand forward to do that impact study, because whatever happens in any neighborhood in the city of Little Rock affects each and every one of you. You chose to serve us, and we're asking you to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anika. The last card I have on this topic, and then I think there will be a comment from at least one of our directors. James Chesner. Did I do that right?
Hello, good evening, y'all. I'll be brief. I just, on the same issue as Dr. Whitfield and some others, I just wanted to express that I think that we definitely need to take a look at the impacts of school closings. I don't understand why. I mean, we spent, I think, upwards of $70 million on the police department last year, and we're going to allow schools to close, which we know from other schools closing in the past that, you know, is going to lead to degradation in those neighborhoods. That's going to potentially lead to more crime and other problems. When we neglect neighborhoods, we know that this is a thing that happens. So I implore, you know, y'all to, I understand that there's issues with jurisdiction and things like that, but I feel like we need to look for creative solutions. We need to figure out what we can do, because if we're spending, you know, this much money to address issues of crime, while we're going to sit and let people from outside of our community unilaterally make decisions that affect our neighborhoods, it doesn't make sense to me. So I just wanted to express that and ask that you please do whatever you can, figure out some kind of solution so that we can take a look at this before we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Director Adcock, did you want to speak? You had your light on first.
Tell Dr. Whitfield that that was not my daughter, but a very close friend of mine, Pam Adcock, who was a former state legislature. Thank you.
Pass that over to Bruce. Director Hendricks, you're recognized, please.
Thank you. I wanted to let those persons that spoke about the school, I do support your cause, but as I reminded Dr. Whitfield that this is a state issue, but it does not keep us from participating. And I will support, and as I had told you by email, I will support whatever it is that you all are trying to do. You may not have seen me, but I've been talking to the Republicans, okay?
Okay, the next card I have on a separate matter is Noel Washington. Mr. Washington.
Good day. How are you all doing today? Excuse me, I'm a little late. You know, Your Honor, I noticed you said 2 or 3 minutes, but...
No, sir, I said 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes.
90 seconds. Well, if you all going by the parliamentary procedures says that a person has the right to have 10 minutes. Now, you can check this if you want to, but you all go by the procedures that was handed down by Henry Robertson in 1876. So these are the rules of procedure of order. But I'm gonna set this right down here because I want my 90 seconds to start. I will be that as it may.
Mr. Washington, I'm going to give you your 90 seconds, but please be respectful of the process.
Okay, well, I want you to be respectful of your process. Your process says that it's a 10-minute, and you can read it when you get time, but that's some other time. Good evening. My name is Noel Washington. Many of you all probably remember me as Leon, but I'm here to let you all know that today I want to make it absolutely clear that studying the at-large procedures, they not only unconstitutional, it's a form of apartheid. And doing the research of these at-large positions, these at-large positions is mostly taken in by the southern states. Now, for those that watch the process of censor of one of the people that was being confirmed, he stated that the at-large position was unconstitutional. And after doing my study, I found that also too. But look at it. Anytime you do not have equal representation, something is wrong with the problem. Now, I'm sure with this 90 seconds don't really give me time to go into debate, but I will be here on the next moment, and I'm going to continue this until you all understand that it's not you all that run the city, it's the citizens. And the citizen has the right to know how you all are to, that's my point, okay. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Washington. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot more of it.
I didn't get a card on this. Is there a Samantha Toro in the audience?
I am, yes.
Pardon?
Yes. I am, yes.
Did you turn in a card? I don't have a card. Did you turn in a card?
No, I did not, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, that concludes those topics. We can now move on to the other issue that we have before us this evening, and that has to do with the homelessness issue. As a preface to that, I'm going to call on our city manager to kind of give an outline of exactly what has happened that has prompted this issue to come to us in this nature.
Mayor, members of the board, I want to be clear, and nothing has changed in any of our processes. For quite some time, when we get a complaint, and I want to point out that the majority of these, 99% of these come from complaints, usually from the people who own the property. So we work with the property owner, and we also try to work with the groups that are out in the camp. So I think that's one point that's important. We haven't changed any processes. I also know there's a balancing issue. So we're going to look at extending the time period. We're also going to, I've asked our staff to look at best practices across the country. There are some cities that, like Austin, Texas, that gets high marks. And believe me, we've been to Austin and other sites also. So that's, I think, and also, as I mentioned, we're not, our code enforcement staff is not out there proactively going to look for these camps. Again, a majority of them, close to 100% of them, come in from a complaint standpoint.
Okay, let me go ahead and begin.
There are pictures on the screen, and we got a lot more, but I just wanted to sort of put it in perspective of what our staff is having to deal with, and then also what the property owner is having to deal with, or even a neighborhood. We got a call from a nonprofit over in the South University area about a camp behind their operation. So that's where we are, and I look forward to hearing the comments.
Okay, the first card I have is from Aaron Redden. And Aaron, you and I have talked. If I've got, I think, 12 cards here from different people. If you'll all take your minute and a half, hopefully we can cover all the topics, and you've had a chance to sort them out in terms of presenting them to us.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm going to, instead of addressing that, I'm going to stick with what I had already in my head. I'm Aaron Redden. I run the van. I've been fighting homelessness in Little Rock metropolitan area for 11 years now. I've been the director at 2 different shelters before starting mobile outreach, and we are out 7 nights a week all throughout the metro. We've got teams out every night of the week, meeting basic needs as immediately as possible, and then helping build relationships with people to figure out how to get them off the streets from where they are. What you don't see in that slideshow are camps out there that are immaculate, that are kept by people who go to work, people who are at work right now that couldn't be here to voice their opinion on this and voice their opinion on being told to be out of their camp by tomorrow because they're at work or they're deathly ill. And I'm sure some of our folks will touch on that. To say that no one is intentionally going out and finding camps is completely inaccurate. Whoever Chris Porter is that has been hired to supposedly be the new homeless services coordinator is going out telling people that they're filthy animals and he can't understand why they're living this way. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. You can't effectively displace people and tell them to go somewhere and they have nowhere to go. They're in West Little Rock working 6 days a week. You send them to a shelter 10 miles away, they lose their job, they take 10 steps back. I don't know who the property owners are underneath that bridge that are complaining, but most of these camps lately have been not posted, and there have not been complaints from the property owners that I know of. Thank you for your time. I would like to ask that you please stop these evictions until there are legitimate options for the people that you're running out of these woods. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, obviously, no one listened to me. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, we can move orderly through this, and I know there's several people who feel very strongly about this, so if we can just keep some order here, I would appreciate it. Sandra Wilson?
Good evening.
I see a lot of familiar faces. Been a long time since I've been here, but I've been working with homeless for about 25 years here in Little Rock now, and I've talked with many of you before. We go all the way back to 2004 to the meanest city designation when we had the same kind of thing going on with homeless camps being torn out and people with no place to go. We came here not to really cause trouble. We came here to ask you to talk with us. We've got homeless people, and you know, after all these years, surely you can see that just moving people from place to place, it doesn't help. They're not going to stop existing. If you talk to us, if we can sit down and we can work out some solutions, if we can find some property where we can go in and move these folks and work with them, that's all we want to do. Sit down, talk with us, and let's work these things through, because this isn't working. We'll be here again and again and again, 25 years. So all we're asking is let's open a dialogue, let's sit down, let's get some meetings going. Let's don't write another 10-year plan. Dear Lord, I chaired the housing plan for y'all, okay? That went on a shelf, and I haven't seen a lot out of it, sorry. Please, let's open a dialogue and talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Sherry Harmon?
Hi, I'm Sherry. I drive on a Friday night for the van, and I'm kind of scared right now, and I'm kind of intimidated. And the only reason I'm here is because my friends that are out camping right now are also scared and intimidated by what's been happening to them. One of my friends is 50. He's got inoperable lung cancer, inoperable colon cancer. He was told on Friday to get out and go somewhere. That's Wednesday. He had to be out by Wednesday with nowhere to go, and I had no solutions for him, and neither did you. So let's let him stay where he is for the time being until we can figure this out. One of the biggest problems I saw on the screen is one of the biggest things that comes up all the time, and that's trash. But if you can tell me where to take a trash bag full of garbage when you're homeless in the city, where are you going to put it? Because the dumpsters that we see out there are privately owned dumpsters. We need some city dumpsters out there that they can dispose of their stuff properly. Let's help them to succeed. Let's stop helping them to fail. I want to talk about some solutions because I got a bunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Cormy Emerson?
I cut it in half. How are y'all this evening? More days than not, this last year when driving home from school, my son sees someone standing on the corner with a cardboard sign that reads, "God bless. Anything will help." I have raised my children to be compassionate and empathize with others. They are taught this in schools, in their communities, yet they experience the opposite when it comes to how we treat the local population. I beg the board to please find a safe and feasible plan to help people to stop harassment of the homeless. I'm asking for human necessities. The request is simple: a place free from violence, a dumpster to throw their trash away, and a toilet. My hope is that we can provide a plan that will unite all of the companies, the churches, and the schools that spend countless hours and money so we can accomplish our goal to make the homeless short-lived and allow them productive lives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cormy. Courtney? Oh, that's a T and an N together. Okay, thank you. You'd have to be surprised how I have to interpret the language here. Carter Ferguson.
More officially, it would be Reverend Carter Ferguson at Canvas Community. For somebody who speaks publicly for a living, I'm a little nervous, oddly. I think what everybody has said and what we have experienced at Canvas as we see somewhere between 250 and 300 to 300 homeless who are chronically homeless every week at dinner and a movie is that there are solutions to this problem. I know that I've spoken to you and Kathy about the idea of a miniature home village. and putting people somewhere, and the problems with that is that whether it's the directors of the city are simply unwilling for that solution to be in the city of Little Rock. And that whether that be true or not, I can tell you putting a center out by the airport has not worked. And a lot has gone into a center out by the airport, and in spite of that being in a dysfunctional place, they have still succeeded. And so I think if we were to allow something to be more centrally located, that would help. I've also been in conversations with UAMS, specifically Chancellor Ron, who runs UAMS, and I can tell you, Mayor, if you were to call Chancellor Ron and say, hey, have y'all been having conversations around solving the problem of homelessness, he would say we have, and he would work with you to solve that, because they are hemorrhaging millions of dollars because of this problem, because this is fundamentally a public health issue. And so I just wanted to throw that out there to you. I think he would be receptive to a call to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Ferguson. Elizabeth Dowell.
Thank you very much. I'm Elizabeth Dahl, founder and coordinator for the Broadway Bridge Project. We serve meals 4 nights a week to the homeless, and the numbers range anywhere from 80 to 140. There are people in there that we know are not homeless, but there's a variety of reasons. They can pay for their rent, they can pay for their utilities, they cannot get to the end of the month with food. So that brings them to us. Almost everything that I would have wanted to say has already been covered, but I do want to add one thing, and I'm sorry, my phone just closed. Come on. Shh. Okay. There has always been this issue of, well, we don't mind if the homeless are here, but we want them way out yonder. Okay, we've seen what has happened at Jericho. I go to Jericho probably once every 2 months. I don't see the people there that I see when we're serving meals, because they have no way of getting to Jericho. They have no money. They can't buy a bus ticket, they can't buy a pass, and we can't afford it at $36 a month to get passes for them. The main reason, though, that people stay here in Central Arkansas, in the center of town, for 2 reasons. One, when you were a kid, where'd you want to play? Backyard or front yard? Front yard. That's where the action was. Nobody wants to be bored. But the other thing is that all of the services that they need are in the downtown area. Social Security, all of the federal issues. And until that's been addressed, nothing's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dowell. Bernadette Reynolds.
Thank you, Mayor and esteemed board members. I'm relatively new on the homeless scene here in Arkansas. My name's Bernadette Reynolds. I'm co-pastor at Mercy Community Church of Little Rock. I'm on the Homeless Coalition. I volunteer at Reach Out with Sandra, and I'm not as known as Aaron and everybody else. I would like to say that most of the stuff that I was going to say has already been spoken about, but there is a solution. If you look at the Austin thing of Haven of Hope, a complex like that where all the services are there, there's mental health services and stuff like that, that is what's needed here. They have a training center and everything like that. Look into Haven of Hope. That is something that's desperately needed here in Little Rock. I have been homeless myself. I slept in front of the Pentecostal church on 12th Street before the new police station was put in down there on weekends after I got off work. So I know what it's like to be here in Arkansas. I know what it's like to be homeless and have people give me a hand up and hope to get out of homelessness. I've been in my own apartment now for 4 years. I'm major volunteer at River City Ministry in the medical department. I'm co-pastor at a church now. So if people have hope and their dignity is not taken away from them, they can come up. But it's going to take people caring about them and seeing everybody as a human being and not as a person that has nothing, they're low life or anything like that. I lost my house that I worked very hard for behind a divorce. I had no choice where I ended up. But I came back up because I have hope. Thank you.
Tricia Williams is next, please.
Hello, I'm Trisha Williams. My heart is about to pound out of my chest. I'm a single mom and a preschool teacher, and I have chosen in my heart to spend all the time that I'm not with my children and at my job with my friends outside. And I can tell you their names. There's George, there's Rick, there's Linnea, there's James, there's Leon, there's Preston. There's people with names. We keep saying the homeless this and the homeless that. And I just wanted to bring that relational part. And I just would like to ask that if it's necessary to post a sign, that maybe that you would take the time to go inside and introduce yourself and say, my name is, what is your name, and what can I do to help you, instead of just move on, because my friends have names and my friends have friends and family that they care about, and I have people out there that would do anything for me and my children, and I just wanted to come with that point of view, that relationships are so important, and just ask that you try to build one before you post a sign and kick someone out. Just what can I do to help? That's all.
Thank you very much, Tricia. The next card I have is from Harold Wilkes.
Hi, I'm Harry Wilkes. I've got Helping Homeless Home. I was once homeless myself. I was a nurse. Things happened. I became homeless, and I was on these streets of Little Rock for 5 years. Now, I've got my own place, and I help others. Most of what I was going to say, of course, has already been said by people that are better at this than I will ever be. But you're talking, I do want to address one issue. You're talking about the owners being the complainers. You rousted this past week, because I spent the last few days moving people. In our world, I'm one of the guys with the truck. I get those calls, and I got to drop everything when y'all do this kind of stuff and scramble, rain or whatever. Over there off University, on city property, under University, y'all posted and rousted somebody. Now, what owner complained about that? That camp's been there since I was homeless. It's kept clean and neat. Who owned that one? Who complained about that one? You say code isn't out there just rousting arbitrarily? Or they only do it when they get a complaint? There you go.
Thank you, sir. The next card I have is from Caleb Alexander McKenzie.
I'd like to thank the mayor and the board for their time. A lot's been said tonight, and I'm not going to try to repeat what they said. One of the things on these cards that were placed in there gave the option of going to shelters. I'm here today to tell you why that's not exactly an option for everyone, or for many people for that matter. Number one, there's not enough beds in this city for our homeless population. Number two, most of these shelters around here aren't set up for couples. I'm a married man. I'm not leaving my spouse outside for a bed. Most of these couples, places that allow people to stay in there, definitely don't allow gay couples. I'm a married gay man. I'm not leaving my husband outside to stay in the cold while I sleep inside. Most of these places don't allow beloved pets. I'm a pet owner. I'm not leaving my dogs outside to starve. I'm not taking them to a kill shelter just to sleep inside. Those pets, for me, are a source of anxiety relief. I need them to get through my life, and I have a house. I can just imagine what people who are sleeping under that bridge in University, who I see every week on Monday nights when I drive up to the van, who cook me dinner from time to time because they're that generous. I can't imagine what they would do. The city's better than this. I moved to Little Rock from rural Arkansas. I'm from Prairie County. I moved to Little Rock because I know this is a place that has a big heart. I'm asking you guys to show that. I'm asking you to find options, asking you to find a way to give relief to people whose shelters are not an option for because there is not enough room for them there, because they have mental illness problems, because they are disabled vets, because they have PTSD and can't be in a crowd. They can't be in a room like this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Please help us find a way to serve our city.
Thank you, Caleb. Robert Michaels is next, please.
Yes, Mayor and board members, I want to thank you for your time this evening. As Bruce said earlier, and so everyone else has said about the city giving out notifications to the camps and the people within them to move. You know, I see a time frame on these things, and I had a friend, still have a friend, that was camping on someone's property. It was that person's property. That person did not call the city to ask to move or displace any of the homeless, but the city told us that the owner contacted the city to displace them. And I just want to ask the mayor and the members of this board for some compassion in the heart for everyone within our community. That includes our homeless population. See, Salvation Army did have a male intake, but now they do not. We only have 2 to 3 other shelters to go to, and they have rules and regulations that not a lot of people can adhere to. So I ask for some compassion and an open mind and an open heart. And that is all.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Jesse Dixus, is that correct?
No, pictures.
Pictius,
Yes,
P-I-C, okay, thank you.
First of all, thank y'all for having me. I'm homeless myself. I've been homeless for almost a year. This is not my first time being homeless. I've been homeless 2 or 3 times before. I asked that the city code enforcement manager and the code enforcement and the board members stop these evictions because a lot of these homeless people don't have nowhere else to go. They don't have nowhere else, don't have no family or anything. I also asked that the board member check into the pet ministry from His Throne Ministries because the woman that runs it is mean. I have a 3-month-old dog, puppy. She won't even provide services for him because she accuses me and my girlfriend of dog flipping, which is not true. And she says that puppies that are under 6 months old can't survive Arkansas winter, which is not true because my puppy is 3 months old and he's surviving. And when I ask her questions, she's rude and mean to me. So I ask that you please check into the pet ministry into getting it shut down. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. The next card I have is from Christopher Hout.
Thank you, Mayor.
Christopher Haney, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Board of the City. I know that I may not have a very large voice in this situation. I also understand that what I may say may not affect anything you think. But I want to ask 3 rhetorical questions. May not require an answer now, but hopefully later I can get it answered. I am 19. I have hit the streets when I was 18. During this whole time, just as a juvenile, I was afraid of death. There was only a mere list of people that actually cared. Y'all have said a prayer here right before this meeting. There's supposed to be Christians in this room. But the way the city is acting is not of a Christian way. There's veterans out here. If you're Christians, would you please help these people? If you're a veteran and you are displaced, put yourself in their shoes. There's people out here who don't have their family anymore, who have lost everything and have nothing to gain. Please give them back something to gain and to have. Put yourself in their shoes, please. I am begging. It is the only way anything's going to change. You cannot sit here and say you want change if you cannot sit here and place yourself in their shoes. The only way to understand is to truly go through it. And the only way you will is if you try to get out there and communicate and become an understanding of the homeless. The homeless are not bad people. They're just in a bad position. Please speak up and hear what I say, and please take it into your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. The next card I have is from Screech Lowry, is that correct?
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for hearing our voices tonight. As my associate, Tiny Rob, my camp is the one he's speaking about. I spoke to my owners of my property yesterday. They did not make a phone call. They actually said we were cleaner than most other camps they have seen. Yes, we've had a few problems with garbage, but with a dumpster or even a porta potty, something, it would be one heck of a lot cleaner. They displaced 12 different people just from my camp alone when there was no call made. They don't care that we're on that property. They would rather have us there than have us anywhere else so that we are safe. We are in our own little tight-knit group, and we're not causing any trouble. We don't mess with their shop. They actually want us there to keep an eye on their shop. And I'm moving back in tonight. And they have given me my go-ahead. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that concludes the cards that I have. Let me ask, it looks like Director Wright would like to ask a question or make a comment. Director Wright?
Yes, Mr. Moore. I know sometimes the property owners make complaints and they don't want people to know they make complaints. I understand that. I've had them call me and say, give me the complaint because they did not want their names to be known. But what I thought I heard here was that we know who the owner is. They know who the owner is. The owner knows that they're there. Why can't the owner not be compelled to provide the dumpster if this is such a problem with trash? Tom?
Well, Director Wright, if you've got a situation with trash on property to the extent that it rises to a nuisance, then they can be.
Well, some of the pictures looked horrendous. I've seen some camps from the highway that don't look that bad. But I do know that I have quite a bit of this in Ward 6 in the woods. And I don't know what those look like, but I know that they're there. I've had some business owners complain about that situation, and I've even brought it to the board, Mayor, trying to see if Jericho Way staff could help us with some of this, and I don't know where we are in that process. But what I'm also hearing from the speakers is that they would like a more centralized place. So, Mr. Moore, are we investigating anything, or are we pinning all of our hopes on the Jericho Way initiative and so forth?
Go ahead, Mr. Moore, but I can speak to some of the issues that have been brought up tonight as well.
And that's correct. I mean, Jericho Way is not just a place that you can go get a warm breakfast and a hot lunch. I mean, the whole idea about the concept was we needed to provide a comprehensive services, our access to comprehensive services, because they're right. We know it's not just I don't have a place to stay. Some of it is mental issues. Some of it is I've got a pet and I can't take my pet to the shelter, so I'm not going in. I remember a few years ago, a guy panhandled me, and I just decided to take him to McDonald's down the street. And so I was just talking to him, and I said, and he was from out of state and had just gotten to Little Rock. And I asked him what made him come. And he said, it is well known in the homeless environment and circles that Little Rock is a giving city, that we tend to help when you ask for help. And so it's a balance. I will assure you, that, as I mentioned earlier, we are not in any way going out proactively. You all know the types of issues we deal with from code enforcement standpoint, so we're pulling them off usually when we had to have a team to go in and so forth. So that's a long answer, but as Sandra said, I'm willing to sit down and visit with a coalition. We have what we call the Catch Coalition that's already in place. The city's a part of that, and we know there are gaps. But I will assure you, because I get a lot of them, as far as the complaints, again, usually we're reacting to something that has come into the city.
So what I'm hearing then is that the request for dialogue can be, or is there dialogue going on with this, how do they access it? Are they a part of this?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of individual dialogue. I know I've had some. I know some of them have called you all and called the mayor and talked to. But, I am willing to sit down soon and talk to the group about what options are. Like I said, we're looking at some best practices. There's some property that we own adjacent or near Jericho Way. And I think it's important for me to point out, because I think our new homeless advocate might have been unfairly sort of characterized. I mean, it clearly shows on the notice to comply, and we're going to change it and get it to make sure everyone realizes, but it says if you need any assistance, you can contact Sister Elizabeth at Jericho Way, and then we'll add Chris's name and a phone number. But I was the one who came up with the title, so I knew exactly what I was looking for as far as advocacy. Because one of the mistakes we made, or that I guess I made, was once we opened Jericho Way, we said, all right, you can go work for Jericho Way, or you can go work in another position. But we constantly get, and you all constantly get, calls for services, and that's why I wanted to have one person that could help coordinate that from the city's perspective.
Well, Bruce, there's obviously immediate short-term issues here, and then there's the longer-term, more complex issues. Relative to these eviction notices, what is the city's position as it relates to the timeline that has been put on these notices that are already out? I understand there's at least 6 or 7 of them, maybe more than that are out there. How are you going to be addressing that issue?
One of the things that Mr. Porter said to me over the weekend and reiterated today was that, is 5 days long enough? As you can see from those pictures, there are a lot of camps that have accumulated a lot of stuff. So we're going to sit down and talk about that. And again, some of it is, as even the notice says, this is for health, safety, and welfare reasons that we are, one, we're getting these complaints, and two, and
let's not, please.
So at this point, I have suspended the 5-day issue, and we're going to sit down and we can talk about this with the group also. What is a reasonable time? What are other options out there?
Well, and in that dialogue, I think if you would work with Aaron and the van, I think we can accomplish some issues. But I do think, to the extent that there are people who permit their property to be used this way, if we can figure out a way to get Waste Management to get us some dumpsters or some things where we can get some things cleaned up, I think that would be very helpful. Find out who is really allowing that is not obtrusive and is not going to be complaint driven. That would help. And then certainly there are longer term issues that I want to mention in just a minute. But I know Director Adcock has talked about this and thought about it as well. Director Adcock?
Mr. Moore, one of the ladies mentioned that they do not have money to get to Jericho Way. And I know that we have two vans that go from Jericho Way to several areas in Little Rock all day long, picking people up and then taking people home, also taking them to doctor's appointments and other things. So would you please talk to that about the vans?
Sure. As the board is aware, part of our strategy, once we opened Jericho Way, we knew transportation was an issue. And so we do provide, we have 2 city employees that drive the van and to designated areas every day. I think it's well known where our vans are going to be and what time they're going to be there. So I was somewhat surprised when the young lady mentioned that they didn't have any money to be able, because this is a free initiative that it's not the city pays the salaries, but it's not a cost to anybody who wants to ride the vehicles.
Vice Mayor Webb?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to follow up about the van question. Are they going all over the city to pick people up, or are they going in a very restricted area?
What we've done, for instance, there was an area that Director Wright had mentioned, I think off of Colonel Glenn, that was beginning to be a problem. So I said, all right, let's do a pilot project and go out there. And I think I'm correct. I mean, we never found anybody that was willing to get on the van, and that we can't make them. So we suspended that. So we really, we look at it, it is across the city. If someone needs it, we're definitely trying to provide it.
Let me mention a couple things, because there's some very good points here, and I think the advocates that are here tonight should hear that this city board is very sensitive and receptive to the issue. I think we want to be a loving and open armed city as it relates to that. And as several of the folks that I know in this group of providers know, this has been a personal passion, but also the board has supported this in many ways. And so we've come a long ways. There's no question there's still a long ways to go. It is a very complex issue, as you all know. Some people don't want to come in. They choose to live the way they wish to live. I appreciate what the van does in terms of going out there and being an outreach and trying to get them to come into permanent shelter. I think that's very laudable, and we need people who are willing to go and rough it like that to do it. But the city, when just a couple of observations. Of course, as people mentioned, the Salvation Army is shut down now. They don't take men, but they still open up their food for breakfast and for dinner, and they cause a lot of issues. I don't think the model is as effective, anywhere near as effective as it could be in terms of trying to deal with the issue of what we do to feed and house and clothe the homeless. That's been a problem. It's been an aggravation that's just happened recently. The city tried to find a day resource center, as many of you know, and we came up with about 15 different sites, and everybody, thought the site was great until they decided where it was going to be located, and then, the not in your backyard issue came up. And so the Union Rescue, and I know I heard from the Reverend that he's not wild about the Union Rescue Mission site, but I'll tell you that the Union Rescue Mission's been there since 1958 dealing with the homeless. It is a stone's throw away from the Port Authority, where there are jobs available for people. So one of the things that Jericho Way does is it doesn't just feed and clothe people. It does that. It gives them ID cards. It gives them an opportunity to find housing. They have housed many, many people there through Jericho Way and the DePaul International organization that's running it. They are finding housing. They're finding jobs. We want to do more of that, and clearly it's a growth issue. It's an opportunity to try and expand. Sister Elizabeth has been working with the homeless so long that she got pneumonia and is out for 2 months, and so our social workers are picking up the trail, and they're going to be handling that for Sister Elizabeth while she's out. But that kind of case management work is very important. You may not know that the city is very engaged in ending homelessness for veterans, and a program that was established through President Obama. We meet on a regular basis, at least once a month, with all of the various agencies to try and deal with ending veteran homelessness. And we're down to about 20 people that we know that don't have permanent shelter. They're sheltered, but they don't have permanent shelter. Bruce mentioned the bus. We run the bus. I'd love for us to be able to do this stuff on the weekends. We're trying to figure out how to pay for that. That's something that we would like to do. We've looked at some land in that area where we can try and do some housing, some not only housing renovation, but perhaps the mini house concept, which in some places works, some places doesn't work so well. You've got to have some common common issues such as a common place to eat and sanitary nature in terms of laundry facilities and a variety of things like that, which Jericho Way provides. So I guess I want you to know that the city is receptive to these long-term challenging issues. So if we can figure out this eviction issue, and we know that you can't just kick somebody out and expect them to walk down the street, they're going to find another place. So I think we hear that loud and clear, and hopefully we can work together on this and help to try and solve some of these long-term issues and help as many people as possible. So thank you for coming tonight, and if there'll be a couple of designated people we can work with, I know that Bruce and his staff will work with you, and we can try and figure out what makes some sense. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our cards on citizen communications. We can now, for those of you who wish to stay, you're welcome to stay. Those who wish to leave, thank you for being with us. Okay, we can now move on to our grouped items. We have ordinances 11 through 13. Madam Clerk, first reading, please.
An ordinance to accept the 3N Company three-tract annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to initiate mining district zoning for Tract 2 of the annexation and for the purposes. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to amend Section 3A of Little Rock, Arkansas, ordinance number 21,329 of November the 15th, 2016, to add more accurately reflect the terms of agreement as to the groundwater of the impacted properties, to declare an emergency and for the purposes. First reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to accept the 3M Company three-tract annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to initiate mining district zoning for Tract 2 of the annexation. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to amend Section 3A of Little Rock, Arkansas, ordinance number 21,329 of November the 15th, 2016, to more accurately reflect the terms of agreement as to the groundwater on the impacted properties, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
To suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place these ordinances on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to accept the 3M Company three-tract annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to initiate mining district zoning for Tract 2 of the annexation. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to amend Section 3A of Little Rock, Arkansas, ordinance number 21,329, to more accurately reflect the terms of the agreement as to the groundwater of the impacted properties, to declare an emergency. Third and final reading.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the passage of the ordinances indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The ordinances have passed, and on the emergency clause on ordinance number 13, all in favor of the emergency clause indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The emergency clause is also passed. We can now move to a public.
Mayor, I went this way. On 13, Mr. Moore is not here, that's why I didn't say anything, but I'm going to ask him later to tell me the location of number 13.
That is those are the properties that were subject to the Timex situation. Mr. Carpenter, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Director Hendricks, there was language in the settlement agreement which was attached as an exhibit to the previous ordinance that the parties wanted to have in the ordinance itself So all this amendment did was move the part of a paragraph up into the ordinance itself.
But again, what are you talking about? I don't,
It's the Timex properties over near the airport that are
Okay.
the subject of the settlement.
okay, thank you.
Madam Clerk, did we have a vote on the emergency clause? Okay, thank you. Yes, we're on to the public hearing now. Let me go ahead and open up the public hearing and ask for the first reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Shackelford Crossing, Lot 1, Cracker Barrel, short form PCD, located at 2618 South Shackelford Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes, first reading.
Suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
Motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Shackelford Crossing, Lot 1, Cracker Barrel, short form PCD, located at 2618 South Shackelford Road, second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Shackelford Crossing, Lot 1, Cracker Barrel, short form PCD, located at 2618 South Shackelford Road, third and final reading.
Is there anyone here who wishes to either speak for or against this ordinance? Come forward, please.
Good evening. I'm Sherry. I'm the retail manager for the Cracker Barrel store on Shackelford. And I was just here just to speak to the initial denial and in talking with our corporate office. Pretty much it's standard operating procedures for the Cracker Barrel stores across the country to have the temporary on-site storage containers to help us to better run the retail business through the holiday seasons. So after speaking with them, I brought to their attention two major issues that were brought up in the first hearing, one of which was the time frame for the on-site storage. Initially, it could be for up to 6 months. It starts sometime in September until January. So in regards to that, we would like to propose a change in the time frame just to that crucial time frame, or just to the crucial time in the holiday season from October 15th through November 1st, November 1st through January 1st. So that would give us 3 months. So it will be on site for 3 months. The second issue that was,
Go ahead, please.
the second issue that was brought up was that it looked tacky. And I understand. We want our city to look beautiful. So in response to that, our corporate office is willing to paint the on-site storage container our Cracker Barrel colors or with our brand logo, and or create a sleeve that we could wrap around the temporary storage building, just so that it looks nice. As far as everything else, I believe we met the fire codes, and it was, as far as our parking spaces, we met all of the code for the parking spaces to be available during the season. And then lastly, just to see if there's anything that we may have missed or that we could do to meet, the approval for this storage, because it is crucial for us to run the business. It allows us to put our everyday retail things that we use, utensils, into the storage building so that we can fill our stockroom with the product. And it's safer for us because we can get to the product quicker, and it just allows us to run the business more smoothly and also take care of the guests, which are the people of Little Rock. So if there is anything else that we could do.
Well, let me ask you a question. What have you been doing so far previously? Are you having you have off-site storage?
Yes.
And that's not workable?
Not really, because we have to leave the premises. We have to, get a truck together and leave the building. And sometimes we have to, can't get it during the daytime hours. So for the safety of the team, we have one. I believe the closest one is on Colonel Glenn. There's one a couple of miles down on Colonel Glenn. And so it's just, to smoothly operate the business, you have to pull somebody off the sales floor, put them in a truck, let them drive away, come back with the material. So it would just be a lot easier and safer if we could just step out behind the building and get any supplies that we need.
Okay, thank you. There may be some comments or questions. Director Hendricks, you're first, please.
I wanted to ask you, were you aware of the denial before you came here?
Yes, ma'am, and in speaking with our corporate office, they just wanted me to come and just see if there's anything else that we could maybe do to amend this or to meet the criteria, such as condense the 6-month timeframe to 3 and paint the storage containers or anything like that.
So did staff tell you to come and appeal to us?
Well, I believe this was an appeal. I thought this was our appeal,
It is.
so that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Director Wright.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, this is in Ward 6, and I would have loved to have sat down with you all before you got to this point. Might have helped, but here we are. So my question for the board or for Mr. Carpenter is, with these changes, does this need to go back to the Planning Commission?
This is the type of change that you would send back to the planning commission typically so that he could consider it. And I want to note that November the 1st to January the 1st, it's only 2 months.
Okay. Like I said, nervous. We were thinking the 15th of October, but we're shooting for 3 months, just right before the season kicks in, which is typically the middle of October. But we were thinking somewhere around 3 months might meet the needs and not be an extended 6-month time.
Well, Mayor, I want to see them succeed. It's a great restaurant, love eating there. I understand the logistic situation. I don't want the tackiness. I do not like storage containers. I hate these things that say pods that are sitting around forever. So I'd like it to go back to the Planning Commission and let them hear the proposal. And I love the thought of them wrapping it with their logo. It would look a lot more aesthetically pleasing that way.
Well, we have a couple other comments, and then I'll see which way this goes.
All right, thank
Director
you.
Hines?
Question, Bruce, is this, or for staff with Tony, is the reason we're seeing this is because it's a PCD? Is that the reason? So, but for that fact, somebody would be allowed under our general zoning to put a storage unit temporarily on a lot. Is that correct? I'm just trying to figure out why we're here.
Buzitsky.
I think I understand it, but I just wanted to make sure. She said they did. She said it's standard operating procedure at their stores.
Yes, sir.
Get right here.
Yes, sir.
Director Hines, there is a section in the ordinance that states accessory permanent structures which meet all setback, now it does say permanent, which meets all setback requirements allowed for the storage of sale items. Typically, these temporary ones are used for remodeling projects or things like that.
But haven't I seen them, for some reason, I've seen them at a Walmart store and maybe a Target during the Christmas holiday season when they've been storing goods, maybe even a Home Depot store in town. Would I be correct in making that assumption?
Now, some of those locations did have to go, the Walmart on Baseline, I think they revised, they're there as, under a conditional use permit, and I think they had to go back and revise their conditional use permit to allow that temporary storage.
Okay. And I'd be supportive, thank you, Tony. I'd be supportive, and I'll make a motion to send this back to Planning Commission.
There's a motion and a second to send this back to the Planning Commission for further consideration for some suggestions that the applicant would like to make. I would note the Planning Commission only had 1 aye and 9 nays, so we'll see whether that makes any difference or not if this passes. Any other questions? If not, all in favor of the motion to send this back to the Planning Commission for further review, I'll indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to items 15 and 16, an executive session for the purpose of appointments to various boards and commissions and for the evaluation of the city manager and the city attorney. Is there a motion to go into executive session for those purposes? There's a motion and a second? Director Hendricks?
Can we do the evaluations, at the next meeting? I'm not gonna stay here till 10 o'clock, I'm gonna tell you now.
Well,
Because I think the,
I'll take that as a motion if you want to make a
well,
motion.
My motion is to evaluate Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Moore next week. Is that okay?
I mean, I'd rather go tonight.
You rather do it tonight? He said he'd rather do it tonight. I withdraw.
All right, there's a motion and a second to go into executive session for the purposes stated. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. We're in executive session. We'll be back sometime. Okay, we are now back in session, and we can report out some appointments on our boards and commissions based on decisions made in our executive session. The first board or commission is the Americans with Disabilities Act Citizen Grievance Committee. I'd like to appoint Chanel Clorid to the individual with a disability position. Is there a motion to confirm? Second, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Michelle is approved. To the Animal Services Advisory Board, I would like to appoint Mildred Randolph, James Downs, Samuel Matchek, Scott Apana, and Dr. Bob Hale. Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. They're confirmed, and we will advertise the Ward 7 position, and hopefully get somebody in the next 30 days. On the Arts and Culture Commission, I'd like to appoint Carol Worley. Is there a motion? All in favor of confirming Carol indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The City Beautiful Commission. I'd like to, we have, I don't know why it's off, but it's off. Shut us down. At 11 o'clock. I didn't know. We haven't had a meet up. I guess we're back. We're back. We're back. Okay, City Beautiful Commission. I'd like to appoint Star Haas to the at-large position, and then we'll advertise the professional position that, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. She's confirmed. On the Civil Service Commission, I'd like to appoint O'Bray Nunnally. Is there a motion? Is there a second? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. He's confirmed. On the Historic District Commission, we're gonna continue that one. I hadn't made a decision on that yet. On the Little Rock Municipal Airport Commission, I'd like to appoint Jill Floyd. Is there a second? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. She is approved. On the Little Rock Parks and Recreation Commission, I would like to appoint Tim Heupel, reappoint Tim Heupel, and I'd like to appoint John Thomas. Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Both say nay. They are approved. It was a tough decision on the zoo board, but I'd like to appoint Brad Kazort and Wally Waller to a reappointment. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Both say nay, and of course it was unanimous. On the excuse me. On the Racial and Cultural Diversity Commission, I'd like to appoint Steve Stracely. Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. He's approved. And on the, on the River Market Design Review Committee, I'd like to appoint Michael McCollum. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. We have one other position there that will investigate or re-advertise for the Downtown Partnership Representative. And on the Sister Cities Commission, I would like to appoint reappoint Julia Johnson and appoint Jing Zhao. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. They are approved, and I think that takes care of the appointments for this evening. I'd also,
We can talk, we'll do it later. The Downtown Partnership actually sent that name over as their representative on the River Market District Design Committee.
okay, I'd like to appoint Daniel Bryant then to that position from the Downtown Partnership. Is there a second? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Mr. Bryant is appointed. Let me also report that we met in executive session with both our city manager, Bruce Moore, and our city attorney, Tom Carpenter.
Vacancies.
We had a very fruitful discussion with Bruce and talked about a variety of issues. Certainly want to say that to the community that in addition to all the hard work, Bruce obviously understands the challenges we have to try and keep our community safe and is moving forward with a variety of those projects that we're going to be hearing about toward the end of the month of February. So a good report was given and granted and received by the board. And I believe there's a motion relative to compensation. The motion was to give him a 1.5% raise like the other employees. Does someone want to make that motion? Second, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. That is approved. We also reviewed our city attorney, Tom Carpenter. We had a variety of issues that we discussed, and the decision of the board is to continue that review for 30 days and to ask that a plan be developed for the items that were discussed, and that we will meet again in executive session in 30 days to discuss those items. I believe that takes care of all of the, and let me ask for a motion to that effect. Is there a second? Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Very good. That, I believe, concludes our items for this evening.
Move adjourned.
Is there a second? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. We are in adjournment. Thank you.